everyone. I'm Abigail. This is Kalifa, and welcome to another Two Kids interview.
We are joined by New York Times bestselling author and illustrator, mother-daughter combo, Renee Russell and Nikki Russell.
They have written the 3-book series, Misadventures of Max Crumbly series, and, of course, the 15-book series, Dork Diaries.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we're happy to be here.
Why is being a dork a good thing?
Want to answer that, Nikki?
Sure.
Okay.
Being a dork is a good thing because you are choosing to be yourself no matter how other people, other kids may insult you and put you down for it. You just learn to embrace it. And you're kind to other people no matter how other people have treated you wrong. And that way you make more friends who are true to you and appreciate who you are.
Yes, and I asked Nikki to answer that question because when she was younger, she was bullied and kids gave her a hard time. But I think it's because she was kind. She was very friendly to everyone. She got her homework done and their teachers loved her. So there were kids in her class that didn't like school and they didn't get their homework done and they were kind of mean people or unhappy people. And then they saw Nikki smiling and being friendly and kind to other people and just being a nice person. And that kind of irritated them. So they wanted to, guess, since they were kind of miserable, maybe they wanted to make her miserable. I don't know. But a lot of bullying happens to kids that are the nicest kids and the most friendly kids and the kindest. And, you respect older people and you obey your parents. And so I don't know why it seems like the nicest kids are the ones that get bullied the most. Would you agree, Nikki? It seems like it's the nice kids that it happens to. But anyway, I just want people that are going through that experience to know that there's nothing wrong with them. There's something wrong with the other people that are treating them really mean. So that's important to realize.
The Dork Diaries series has spent 329 weeks on the New York Times bestseller children's series list.
That is the very most for any series with a girl as the main character.
What does that mean to you?
That's really, really important to me. As a matter of fact, sometimes I look at the best series list and I'm a little confused and maybe a little sad because there should be more girls on the bestsellers list, more books for girls. Because you know what? For middle grade, half of the people are girls and half of them are boys. I think the population of girl to boy ratio is very, very close. So it doesn't really make sense for if you have 2 or 3 best-selling lists for most of them to be boy books. A lot of them after that are animal books. And a lot of them after that are, I don't know, it's just boys and animals, not very many girls. So that kind of bothers me a little bit, to be very honest. You guys are very smart young people to even say that, because I got the New York Times bestsellers list yesterday and Dork Diaries made it. And then when I start looking at all the other lists for the series list, Dork Diaries is the only girl. And you're right, for middle grade, I think there might be 1 girl, but there's 9 other books on there that are boys and animals. So that's something that I'm a little concerned with. And again, you're very, very, very smart, both of you, to pick up on that. And I don't know what we can do, but like I said, girls are half the population. So
we can keep on making those books.
Yeah, we'll keep making the books and you guys keep reading. And then, maybe there will be a change. But I agree with you 100%.
Dork Diaries is also the only series that has been on the New York Times bestselling children's series list for over 300 weeks that does not have a movie yet. Are we getting any closer to a Dork Diaries movie that we clearly need?
Oh my goodness, these are some really
good questions. I know, it feels like I'm being interviewed by the adults at the New Yorker or Washington Post
or CNN.
Oh my gosh, I am blown away. You guys are so smart.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very, very, very frustrating to have been on the New York Times bestsellers list for over 300 weeks and to have sold all these books. I think we're in 45 languages. No, we're in 50 languages in 55 countries. And we've been on the New York Times bestsellers list forever and ever and ever. And do we have a movie? No, we don't have a movie. I'm frustrated about it. You guys are talking about all the things that are very kind of frustrating and confusing to me. I'm an adult and it's confusing. So I know as young people, so yeah, do I have an answer for that? No. We have been offered several movie deals and they have 3 years to make a final decision. So, for example, if somebody gave me a movie deal today, they'd have till October of 2026 to make a final decision. So when we get a movie deal, it's a complete like 3 year waiting period to figure out what they're going to do. And for the 2 or 3 times we've gotten offers, in the end, they say, no, we changed our mind. We don't really want a movie. Or they'll say, your contract is for a movie, but we don't want a movie. We want to make you a cartoon. We want to put you on a TV show, or we want to do this and that. And I'm very adamant. What do I want, Nikki?
Wants a movie because she wants you all to be able to go into a movie theater to see a courageous young girl get all the shine like she deserves. And then after it's in the movie theater for you, she will put it on
wherever
Netflix or Nickelodeon or what have you. She just really wants to give you that.
So
movie.
I'm very, very adamant. Just like it bugs me a little bit that there's not very many girl books on the New York Times bestsellers list when girls are half the population. It bugs me just as much that all of the movies that are in theaters are boys and animals, and there are not very many for girls. Now there's a lot of movies for older girls. It's called young adults, and those are like your older sisters or older people that are maybe 15 to 20 years old. They get movies. That's like Hunger Games and all the movies that feature high schoolers or older kids. But for younger girls that are like maybe 8 to 14, there's not very many movies. And I would love for Dork Diaries to be in movie theaters, and the deals that I get were supposed to be in a movie theater, but in the end they changed their mind. And when they change their mind, I say, forget it. I'm out of here. I want a movie. And if you can't give me a movie in movie theaters for these girls that deserve it, then I will have to just keep looking for a better deal that will give us a Dork Diaries movie in movie theaters. So, excellent question.
Good. We really want that too.
Yeah.
This question is for Nikki. Pretend your mom can't hear you right.
Oh no.
It's the hardest thing about working with your mom.
I'll do that.
Okay, so the hardest thing about working for my mom is because I'm still her baby. Sometimes she treats me like a baby, kind of. So if your typical 9 to 5 job, you're treated like the standard employee. You check in, you do the work you need to do, you take lunch breaks, you come back to the job, and then you leave and go home. In my case, I have a mom. She's constantly watching, looking over my shoulder saying, okay, are you doing this? Okay, are you doing that? I want it to be perfect. Do this, do that. Okay, how are you feeling? Are you well rested enough? Do you need a nap? As if I'm still in kindergarten. But it's sometimes a good thing because adults need naps too. But yeah, she hovers over me like a mother hen over her little baby.
You are currently working on the book 17, the 16th book and the 17th. How do you keep coming up with fun ideas?
Our books are based on things that actually happened to me when I was in middle school or to Nikki when she was in middle school. And we had a lot of crazy stuff happen to us growing up. So we mostly just use ideas for experiences that we've actually had. Sometimes we'll even like read the newspaper or go online and there might be something interesting or fun or crazy that happened to a teenage girl or boy, and we'll use those ideas for books too. So we get book ideas from either our personal experiences or things that we see or hear that have happened to other people. Like, for example, you guys are doing kind of your own podcast. Well, at some point, Nikki Maxwell and Zoe and Chloe could maybe do a podcast. And that's an idea that we just got from you guys, is them maybe having a podcast show as part of school or after school project, or it could even be a school assignment that they have to do.
In fact, there's a podcast in our newest book, book 15.
Oh, yeah, Zoe. Yeah, Zoe. Yes, that is true. So we get ideas from everywhere.
What is the most meaningful experience each of you have had when talking to a student during a school visit?
So if I can chime in here, being a former teacher of 1st and 3rd grade, before I became a full-time illustrator for this book, we get a lot of kids who say they did not enjoy reading and they were not very good at it until they picked up our books and started reading them. It motivated them not only to read better, but they enjoyed reading.
Yes. I would say the thing that's been new for me in the past year is that we are now on TikTok, which you probably guys are familiar with that. And we've been getting a lot of comments from older people who started reading our books when they first came out. The first Dork Diaries book came out in 2009. And the people that were reading it in 2009 were like your age or maybe even younger, which means that today in 2023, those young people are like 20 or 22 or even 25, depending how old they were when they started reading it. So we're getting a lot of comments on TikTok from young adults that are in their 20s that tell us how much they love Dork Diaries and how Dork Diaries was like their best friend, and that they would feel really bad or feel really frustrated, but they would read Dork Diaries and they would feel a lot better. So we're getting a lot of comments from older young adults saying that Dork Diaries was really, really important to them and that they love it, and that even now in their 20s and they're finishing college and starting to get married and having their own kids, they're still reading Dork Diaries. And that like is kind of mind-blowing for me. So that's been something new. And maybe it's new because my readers are now growing up and getting older, but that's the thing that I've been the most impressed with. And it's been very heartwarming is hearing from young adults now that say when they were 8 years old or when they were 10 years old or 12-year-olds, they love Dork Diaries and how important it was to them as young people and how important it is to them even as adults. And they're still reading it as adults. I think that was really, really cool.
Russell, when did you first realize that Nikki was an artist?
And when did I first realize it? That's a very, very funny story, because when Nikki was about 3 or 4 years old, we moved into a new house that we had just purchased. And her older sister, who's 2 years older than her, wanted her new room painted pink. And Nikki, what color did you want your room painted? You remember?
I wanted it painted blue.
She wanted it painted blue. So I got paint and I spent like 2 or 3 days painting Nikki's brand new bedroom. And again, she was older, maybe 4 or 5 or yeah. So when she came in, she says, and I fixed up, put her dolls out and everything. And she said, Mom, the room is beautiful, but it's missing one important thing. So, and I said, oh, well, what is that? I thought maybe I had left out a teddy bear or a Barbie doll or something. And she's like, no, I will fix it. You can just leave the room and I will make the room better. And you want to tell everybody what you did to your room I had just painted?
I doodled all over the walls.
With a
permanent marker.
A black magic marker. She drew all over her walls. Do you remember what you drew?
People, building, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So when I came back into Nikki's newly painted bedroom, newly decorated bedroom, to see what finishing touch she added, I was greeted with just black magic marker doodles all over her wall. So that's when I realized that Nikki was an artist and that she loved to draw. So that was, but she's always, and even from that time, if I bought her a notebook, she would like doodle the whole thing in maybe like a day or two. Or I would give her school supplies that would be notebook or paper, and she would staple the papers together and doodle it all, or she'd have a notebook. And at the end of a couple of days, for a notebook is supposed to last maybe a month or two with her school homework, she would just doodle it all, and then it would all be filled up in just a week or less. So that's when I realized that Nikki loved art and that it was very, very important for her. You remember all of that?
We do, and that's the other perk of having your mom as your boss. You get to hear her rehash all your embarrassing stuff when you were little.
Yeah, that's true. But I think kids find all those stories very motivating.
Yeah. Nikki, can you explain how you dorkify someone?
Yes. So I take a large notebook paper. It's like huge, like very, very big, so that audience can see the illustration when I'm done. And I take a marker and I look at a person very carefully in the audience. I make sure I can see their features well enough to draw them on the jumbo notepad. And then I date it at the bottom and sign it. And I take it off of the notepad and I hand it to them at the end of the event. Mm-hmm. After a lot of practice, it starts to become a lot more natural and I start to be able to accomplish them quickly so that I'm able to do more than one dorkification for each book signing presentation we do.
You usually do about what, eight?
Seven or eight.
7 or 8? Okay, yeah, 7 or 8 of them.
If we have like 45 minutes to an hour, it tends to be.
What is your process when putting book together?
Do you decide the end before the middle?
Or do you put it together in order?
Okay. I'm the author and Nikki's the illustrator. So as the author, I have to figure out what's going to happen in the story. So I will, like, for example, we're working on book 16. So I'll sit down and write the first chapter of book 16. Now, I don't know if you know it or not, but Nikki's books are actually a diary, and each of her books are 1 month of her life. So if you see the books in back of us, there's duplicate copies of them back there, but each book is 1 month. So book 1 is basically September, book 2 is October, et cetera, et cetera. So when I sit down and write a book, I start at the beginning of the month. So it's usually, for example, Monday, September 1st. And then that's the first chapter. The second chapter is Tuesday, September 2nd, until we get to the entire month. So I'll sit down, I'll write the first chapter. Say it's maybe a scene where Nikki and her sister Brianna are fighting over the jelly at breakfast or something like that. I'll write it, and then I'll go through and decide what pictures I'd like to see in it. So I'll make what's called art instructions. And art instructions is just maybe a little short paragraph describing to Nikki what I would like her to draw. Maybe she needs to draw Nikki and Brianna at the table, and then maybe she needs to draw an artwork of Nikki and Brianna kind of fussing with each other, and then maybe she needs to draw a picture of them fighting over the jelly, and then the last picture is that they let go and the jelly goes all over everywhere, and then Brianna and Nikki are both covered in jelly because they were fighting over the jelly. So I'll send all of that to Nikki. Basically my first chapter about them eating breakfast and having a jelly fight, and with the art instructions. And then you want to say what you do when you get the chapter?
So based on what I read in her chapter and those art instructions, I draft up an artwork, and then I show the artwork to her. And if it needs anything, I'll make changes based on the revisions she gives me. And I give the artwork back to her. And then if necessary, she may go and revise her story based on the artwork. So it's kind of like a cycle. We work off of each other.
Right. So inevitably, when I get back her art, it's like mind blowing. I'm like so impressed and so happy. So I sometimes will rip up what I wrote and then I rewrite the whole chapter over, and it's more exciting, and there's more jelly and there's more drama. So I'll redraft the art, the written chapter based on how wonderful her artwork is. So Nikki always inspires me to be a better writer. So inevitably, when I get her work back about the breakfast and the jelly fight, I go back and rewrite it, and I make it more exciting, and it's funnier, and there's just more stuff happening. And then when we're done with that, we go to the next chapter. The same thing happens. I make a draft of the chapter, give it to her with art instructions. When I get it back, I'm like, oh my gosh, these pictures and this artwork is so wonderful. And then I go back and revise what I wrote to make it better. So we are a good team, and we both help each other to be better at what we do.
Any chance you ever write your Ronnie and Donnie books for younger kids?
Oh, another very good question.
Yeah.
My literary agent was just asking me like a week ago. We were in New York last week. Actually, we were on Good Morning America, right?
Yeah, GMA3.
Yeah, we were on Good Morning America. And so we were in New York City, and my literary agent asked if I would like to write a picture book for younger kids. And I told him I would think about it. So my answer to you is the same thing. I would love to write a picture book, and I'm currently thinking about it and trying to figure out what would be a good topic or a good subject or a good character. I don't know if I should like make a picture book of maybe Brianna, which is Nikki's little sister, or do I want to do something 100% different? So yes, I would love to make a picture book for younger kids.
Is it ever confusing when you say Nikki if you are talking about your daughter or your character?
Yes. When it's Nikki and I, it's not ever confusing because I think she always knows. But when there's other people in the room, they probably like, you might be getting confused hearing it. But yeah. So when I do public speakings, I will say Nikki, my daughter, and I'll say Nikki, the book character. And that way it's less confusing. But yes, that sometimes is an issue.
We have interviewed a number of authors who have had books banned.
That means in those places, kids don't have the same access to books that we have and may not be able to see themselves represented in books.
Can you give us your thoughts on this?
Oh, wow. Oh, I think book bans are bad. The reason why I think book bans are bad because that is a group of people going through looking at books and deciding what they like and what they don't like. But that's not always the best judgment of what is a good book that a child might like. I think we should let children make the decision on what they would like to read within reason, as long as there's not like something really, really bad or really traumatizing in the book. I think kids should be allowed to gravitate to read the books that they enjoy, to read the books that they're interested in, and to read books about other people that look like them too. So I think sometimes those adults that are doing that are trying to help. They may think they're trying to protect kids or they're trying to get rid of books that are bad, but sometimes they're not always the best judge. And I think, again, as long as the book doesn't have anything really, really bad in it or really traumatizing in it, then kids should be able to read what they're interested in and read what makes them happy. And most importantly, they should be able to read books that have other kids that look like them or that think like them or that have backgrounds that are similar to them. So I think book bans are generally a very bad idea.
We agree.
Good.
What writer or illustrator has had the most influence on you?
You want to?
Yeah, okay. So the illustrator of Arabelle Ortega's Frizzy. Oh my goodness, that book is such a great read. It is a graphic novel and I highly recommend it. It's just very well done. She captures the ethnicities of the characters really well.
Why is it called Frizzy?
Because the main character has a really frizzy hair like mine. And it just shows how being your true self and true to even your hair is important. You don't always have to wear it the way other people wear it. You can wear it the way you want to wear it in a way that boldly stands for your culture and your background and your ethnicity. So that book had a really positive influence on me and my artwork.
I've actually read that one.
Oh, okay.
How did you like it?
It was pretty good.
Good.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. And how about you, Mommy?
Oh, a book that's had an impact on me. When I was in like fourth grade, I loved the book called Harriet the Spy. And Harriet the Spy is about a girl. I think she's maybe in fourth or fifth grade. I don't exactly remember, but wants to be a spy. So she kind of like goes around and snoops at what other people are doing and what they're saying and what's going on in their lives. Like she'll stand around a corner and eavesdrop, or she'll be pretending to be doing something else and just secretly listening to people. And then she would take it and write it all down in a secret diary. So she ended up learning secrets about all the kids, stuff they had done that they could get in trouble for, and some kids whose families or mother and dad were having issues. So anyway, she had all of notes written in a diary of the kids in her classroom and a lot of their secrets and things. So one day she loses her diary or her spy notebook in the classroom, reads it, and they're really, really angry because she's supposed to be their friend and nice, and she should not have been kind of eavesdropping and writing down all their secrets. So that was my favorite book when I was your age, was Harriet the Spy. And it probably was a very, very important factor in me growing up and deciding to write a book based on diaries. As a young adult, my favorite book was Princess Diary. See a little pattern here with characters. I loved Harriet the Spy, and she kept a diary. As an adult, one of my favorite books and the movie was Princess Diaries. And again, it was about a young girl who kept a diary. So when I decided to write a book, if I were to base it on my two favorite books in my lifetime, then it had to be a diary-based book. So again, very, very good question.
What advice do you have for young writers or illustrators?
Okay, what advice do I have? I
You
have
can do illustrators now.
Okay, so for you illustrators out there, my following advice is keep on practicing your drawings. There'll be days where you may feel frustrated and discouraged because it may not be looking right the way you imagined it, but please don't be discouraged. Keep going because with more practice, you will get better.
Exactly. My advice to people that would like to become authors and writers is to start writing now. You can write stories about things that are going on around you. You can be like Harriet the Spy and kind of eavesdrop on what's happening in the lives of kids in your classroom and make up stories. Don't use their real names though, but you can make up stories out of your imagination, or you can look around at what's happening, to other kids or what's on TV, and you can make stories based on that. Just to start writing. And if you don't want to formally write like would be considered a story, then just keep a diary, because basically a diary is just like a story, and it's just writing. It's only a lot easier because you're writing from the first person, which is you're writing about what you saw and what you think and what your feelings are. But most important, you should just write.
And do what inspires you. Like
Exactly.
With your drawings, look at stuff that inspires you to draw, or with your writing, look at stuff that inspires you to write.
Right. So if you love writing about animals, then write an animal story. If you like writing about the drama with going on at school with your friends, write about that. If you like writing fantasy stories where somebody's a wizard or a fairy or whatever, just write whatever it is that you are interested in and write about what makes you happy. Then you'll also enjoy your writing.
Finally, it's time for our Turbo 10.
10 rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Number 1, what is your favorite phrase to use?
Phrase that I use?
Yes.
What is my favorite phrase that I use? What do I say on that? I don't know, my favorite phrase that I use. I know when I'm writing for Nikki Maxwell, my favorite phrase that I use when I'm writing Dork Diaries is OMG, OMG. She says OMG or oh my gosh for everything. And she says, she does that. That's like her little excited thing. So for when I'm writing as working on my Dork Diaries books, it would be OMG and squee. For me personally, I don't know if there's a phrase can you think of a phrase that I use a lot?
OMG and I think
I'm doing really good. She's saying I do OMG and squee in real life. How embarrassing. But it is what it is. So maybe that's why I put it in the book, because that's what I
you're not saying it, you're thinking.
Exactly. Okay.
My favorite phrase is dorkify, because I love dorkifying kids like you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Number 2, what is one subject you'd love to learn more about?
One subject that I would love to learn more about, I would love to learn French. Nikki Maxwell went to France in Dork Diaries book 15. And when I was younger and when I was in high school, they had Spanish and German, but I wanted to learn French. And in college, I wanted to learn French, but I've never. So if I could take a class or learn anything new, I would love to learn how to speak French, especially after Dork Diaries book 15, Nikki's Posh Paris Adventure.
Besides learning to speak French, I would like to learn more about art, because I want to become a better artist. I don't want to just do line drawings with ink. I also want to learn to color, because I want you guys to see what we can make in color.
You want to show them my color picture?
Sure.
I'll just take
yes.
I have a picture of a toy that's colored.
We would like to make more books like these where the characters are colored for you. All right, give us number 3. We're ready.
Number 3, what's your go-to snack food?
My go-to snack food lately has been cheese popcorn. And then I order it from this company in Chicago. So it's like gourmet cheese popcorn. And it comes in a big can. It's like that big, maybe 10 inches tall. And I could eat the whole thing in one setting. I try to only eat half of it in one setting, and then so I'll eat half of it one night and then the other half another night, usually when I'm writing. So mine has been cheese popcorn lately.
And mine is chocolate.
Yes. Yeah, she's a chocoholic.
This one was sort of answered already, but what was your favorite book growing up?
Oh, mine I just mentioned, which was Harriet the Spy, which is a diary book, and Princess Diaries, which is a diary book. Those are my two favorite books.
Mine is Frizzy.
Number 5. If you could teleport somewhere right now, where do you go?
If I could go anywhere right now, where would I go?
Teleport somewhere.
Teleport, Mommy.
Oh, teleport.
Disappear and appear right wherever you want.
Oh, teleport. That's even better. I would go to Paris. And you know why? Because when we decided to write Dork Diaries book 15, the reason why we chose Paris is because Nikki and I were going on a mother-daughter trip to Paris. But it was in May of 2020 at the exact same time COVID was hitting and basically causing a lot of problems all around the world. So we didn't get to go to Paris. And that's why we decided to have Nikki Maxwell in Paris, because we were going to be in Paris in around May of 2020. So we ended up, Nikki and I couldn't go to Paris because of COVID, but Nikki Maxwell and her friends got to go to Paris because we could send her to Paris in our imagination. So if I could teleport to any place right this instance, I'd go right to Paris.
Yeah, I definitely have to say Paris.
Number 6. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, if I could have, you want to answer that first? Okay,
it would be flying. I would love to know what it's like to soar through the air, feel the wind on my face, and just see everything from a bird's eye view. It also makes traveling a lot faster and funner.
If I could have a superpower, I think I'd want to heal people. So if there was a person that was sick,
that's a good one.
Yeah, if there was a person that was sick or had problems, I'd just go up and give them a big hug, and I'd have healing hugs. So after I gave you a big hug, then whatever problem you had or whatever you were suffering with would be all healed and you'd be just healthy and just like new. That's what and I think I only started feeling that way maybe in the last few months or so. But if I had a superpower, that would be one that I think I would like.
Number 7. What was your favorite cartoon as a kid?
Oh, that's a good
Oh my
question.
gosh. Do you guys know what anime is? Japanese animation? So my favorite cartoon is Ultramaniac. That's a Japanese animation cartoon. It's really, really fun and really cute.
Oh, I have to think. Oh, what did I used to look at when I was a kid? Cartoon.
Did you like Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo is really popular back then.
I was going to say, it probably would have to be Scooby. I think you're absolutely correct, Nikki. I think it would have to be Scooby-Doo. Oh, I know what I love.
Josie and the Pussycat.
I love Snoopy, the Charlie Brown. Oh my God.
Peanuts.
Peanuts. Yes, I would say Peanuts. I also like Scooby-Doo and all of those. But whenever I would watch Charlie Brown or Peanuts, I would always want to cry because it was just so, I don't know. It wasn't sad all the time, but I just loved their world. And I wish I could go and hang out with Charlie Brown and all the characters. So I would say my all-time cartoon as a child was Peanuts or Charlie Brown. And it only came on holidays. And maybe that's why I loved it too, because it would come on. There was a Halloween one. There was a Christmas one. I think there were maybe a couple of others that weren't related to holidays. But I think
there was one where they went to Paris.
Oh, they went to Paris. Hey, maybe that's psychologically I got the idea. But I love
Thanksgiving,
Snoopy.
Valentine's Day.
Yes, yes, exactly. And then maybe that's why I liked it too, because the cartoons were so special because they were about holidays, and holidays were always a big deal when I was a child and growing. So definitely Peanuts. It's called Peanuts, but I call it Charlie Brown and Snoopy show.
Number 8. What is your favorite rainy day activity?
Oh, I can answer that. For me, it's sleeping when it's rainy and cloudy, and usually it's a little bit cooler. Or I love to sleep on rainy days.
Mine is video games. I actually really enjoy playing video games and games on my little iPad, the little iPad games that you can download. It's a lot of fun.
Number 9. If you could have any 3 characters, who'd they be?
three, what is that?
Dinner guests.
3 dinner guests.
Oh, 3 dinner guests. Oh my gosh. You want to go first?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama's my guess. Go right ahead. Yeah. Michelle Obama's
yeah.
very good.
Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and I want to choose Martin Luther King Jr., but I know he is deceased.
Is this alive or living only or
Rules. No.
no rules? Yeah, there you go. It can be living or not living. So who would you pick?
Even it can even be a fictional character.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I know you would like was a little blue guy.
Oh, okay. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and Sonic the Hedgehog.
She's always loved Sonic the Hedgehog ever since she was a little kid. So and she has Sonic the Hedgehog in her office now. Even okay, so for me, oh wow, I would say Michelle Obama. Yeah, I would say Oprah. I like Oprah Winfrey too. I like older ladies. I'm an older lady, so I guess if I want to hang out with someone I can relate to. Oh, and Jennifer Hudson.
I didn't think of her. I would have, but
yes, yeah. So those would be 3, and that's because I don't have very many friends because I spend all my time writing. So if I could have automatic friends, I would pick Jennifer Hudson, Michelle Obama, and Oprah as good friends. So those would be my 3. And then if who would I pick as a book character? Oh wow, I have to think about that. But yeah, that's a really, really good question, especially if you can pick book characters.
And finally, number 10. What is the best piece of advice you were ever given?
Oh, the best piece of advice that I was ever given, and I totally ignored it. And I used to tell, it was from my dad. And I used to say, Dad, very respectfully, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. And I would never, ever do that. And guess what my father told me? And I was like, I think I was in high school. He said, you grow up, I think you should write children's books. And I was like, oh, Dad, oh my gosh, how can I make a living writing children's books? Where would I get the ideas from? Who would ever, even if, because I loved writing even as a child. That's why he probably told me that. I'm like, who would like my stories? My stories are stupid and nobody would ever want to read them, let alone pay money to buy a book. And my dad used to tell me that over and over, like once a year for like 10 years. Even when I was married and it had Nikki and Aaron, he would say, you know, I think you should write a children's book. And I'm like, Dad, that's such a stupid idea. And guess what? He was 100% correct. And I wish I would have listened to him back when I was in high school, because then I would have maybe been able to write Dork Diaries and start my author career in my 20s instead of doing it in my late 40s. So sometimes you need to listen to your parents.
And mine is to always let your inner dork shine through. That is the thing Mom always signs her books with whenever fans give them their books. She signs it like that because it's important to always be yourself.
Exactly. And even if you're dorky, you should be yourself. And
Yeah.
even if kids give you a hard time, you should still be yourself.
Yeah.
Very, very special.
You'll have a better quality life that way because you'll always be doing what you truly love and what you truly feel like doing.
Your questions were like,
yes,
fantastic.
Excellent.
I know. Yeah, I think they were probably the best interviewers we've ever had.
It's true.
I've been interviewed by like all kinds of swanky, fancy people, educated, CNN and whatever. You guys are probably the best. Very impressed.
Awesome. You were both awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
And thank you for spending this time with us.
We can't wait to read Dork Diaries 16 and 17.
Great.
We can't wait to get them finished for you.
And get them written. So thank you so much for having us.